Let's get into the chaos. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has been out for a few years now, and people have obviously been starting to speculate what the next new Super Smash Bros. Game could be for the next Nintendo console. I want to put my opinions on what I think are the best potential candidates for a new Smash game. Now, obviously, number one, they could just do another new Smash game with new characters, new stages, you know, how Smash Bros. Has been this entire time. But I don't think that's really going to live up to the hype. They could kind of go back and you change, like, how every character functions, you know, basically update all the old characters. You could just add a way to go into 3 dimensions. With that, you just have to rework how each move works a little bit and obviously give a button that allows you to move between 3 dimensions. And if you didn't want to give the characters full 3D movement, you could also do this other option I'm thinking of, and this is basically going to affect the stages only, but make every single stage have a foreground and a background, kind of like Jungle Hijinks from Super Smash Bros. Wii U. If they went this way, I wouldn't want just every stage to have a way to travel to the background. I want every character themselves to have a way to travel to the background as a new move for them to utilize. And it could be the entrance animation. Maybe it's like shield and jump, and that'll make you go back to the background or foreground or whichever one you're not standing on currently. And depending on which character it is, it can be a slow, powerful move or maybe a quick, you know, weaker move. And I think that would be really interesting, especially since the entrance animations have been something cool that I don't feel like have been recognized a lot in Smash Brothers. So for it to be a main part of the gameplay, I feel like that would be a really cool twist. Whichever way they go with the 3 dimension thing, you know, jump to the background or just be able to move freely in 3 dimensions, the next Super Smash Bros. Game could be called Super Smash Bros. Dimensions. Yeah, I really thought long and hard about that one. The next idea I have is kind of like the very first one, you know, make a new Smash game with new characters. But this time I would say focus on Echo Fighters. That way there can be a lot more newcomers and they can actually utilize the tag that they gave to Echo Fighters. You know, everyone's calling them clone characters, now they're called Echo Fighters. So you know what, make use of that and actually make a lot more Echo Fighters. Like you can literally like double the roster by just changing a few movesets on characters. And it actually does change up the gameplay depending on like how many little tweaks you do to someone. Like every single character can get their own Echo Fighter and they feel like a completely different character. Smash has so many little gimmicks added on to like different stuff. You know, if you look at the adventure mode in Smash Ultimate, that's kind of the idea they were going for. They were making a lot of different fights with characters by just tweaking some of the gameplay elements. You know, you can have lighter gravity or you could have like the floor be lava or something like that. Like all that extra stuff, just actually put it into the new fighters, give them the same moves as whoever you thought they would be more closely resembled to, and obviously change the skin. You know, don't just like make it like a recolor of Mario or whatever. You actually obviously put the model in there, but you don't have to make any new movesets. You can literally like recycle all the moves and you can have a few dozen new fighters and everyone will still like them because they'll be different enough to justify who you play as. The next idea I have would be to make a new adventure mode, kind of like Subspace Emissary, but you know, obviously an ultimate this time, and just make it its whole entire new game. And Smash Brothers Ultimate can still be the ultimate fighting game, but now you can do something new and do an adventure mode for all the characters and make a story mode for it, like with cutscenes and all that, because that's what people really wanted. Again, I say this because Ultimate would be kind of hard to top without just adding like an insane number of characters, so why not just use what Ultimate already is and just turn it into like an action adventure platformer. This can be seen as like the DLC method, like add an entire new game mode to Smash Brothers, but you know, the focus isn't on fighting because the fighting's kind of already like as great as it's gonna get in this current form. So why not just try to focus on something else that people might also like to see? Speaking of DLC method, they could also do that, say for the next Nintendo Switch, whatever it is, Switch 2, whatever. They just port Super Smash Bros. And just start constantly updating it, like adding new characters constantly. It's kind of like how Mario Kart 8 has been for like the past however long it's been, Mario Kart just kept adding waves and waves of DLC for like the longest time. It'll be kind of like those MMORPG games where they just kind of keep like adding new expansions, new expansions. They don't actually change the game you're playing, but they just add new stuff to it all the time. So you can honestly combine the adventure mode, what I said previously, with the new DLC characters all the time. You can just keep adding new stuff to it, because like I said, Smash Ultimate is kind of already peak. So just take what Smash Ultimate already is and keep adding to it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's ported to the new Switch, just do that. Basically, all the stuff I said can keep Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's framework, but just adding new things in a different way. You could combine it all together, honestly, if you wanted to. But another idea I have is something new entirely, like basically a spin-off of Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Kart, or Super Smash Bros. Racing if you didn't want to put them in the carts. But my idea is to basically just combine Mario Kart with Super Smash Brothers. And the reason why I say this is because both of them have kind of reached their peak at what they're gonna be. So what if you combine the two of them together? Like, both of them have been getting updated for a really long time, and I think it'll spice up both series in a way that'll make it very unique for both of them. More so for Super Smash Brothers, because Super Smash Bros. Is a fighting game. Now it's gonna be turned into a racing game. Smash Bros. Had a focus on racing at one point on the 3DS, but only for like a small section of it. During Smash Run, there's a possibility that you can race instead of fight at the end. So, but nothing was changed during that race. Everyone was just playing how they played in the game already. But in this new idea, you can change how each character functions, how they travel, everything, especially how the moves work. Because now you're gonna want to have a way to slow down fighters and stop them, and to get yourself ahead. I would prefer this new game to be done as like the game mode in Smash Run, but if they went for the karting route, I'd be okay with that too, especially since Mario Kart 8 kind of already started doing that basically by adding all these other Nintendo characters into Mario Kart 8. You have Link, you have Splatoon, you have Captain Falcon, almost like his cars in the game, his outfits in the game. Almost there. Of course, you also have the villager from Animal Crossing in there. So you already got a few Nintendo characters. Donkey Kong and Wario also there, but they, kind of been associated with Mario for a really long time. But, I mean, they all their own series in Smash. So, they got a pretty good portion of Nintendo characters in the roster. So if they did do this new Super Smash Bros. Karting game, I could see them adding Kirby, Samus, Pit, and maybe even Pokemon Trainer. I feel like all those would be a nice addition. I don't think they would have any third-party characters if they did this hybrid, at least not right away. I mean, actually, no, Pac-Man, because Pac-Man's been in Mario Kart in like an arcade game. So Pac-Man could be in there too. This game could play exactly like Mario Kart, but I would want the graphics to change a little bit to fit in more of the Nintendo cast that have a little bit differing art style than Mario. And the other thing I would want them to change is how the items work. I would want every character to have their own unique items, or like their own unique twist on items. Say if Kirby picked up a red shell, it wouldn't be a red shell, it would be one of his abilities from the Kirby games, obviously. Aesthetically different, and then you can also have it do different effects. Like blocking a character from using items, having them have a hard time steering, stuff that hasn't been utilized in Mario Kart very much. You could just have the new abilities affect new parts of the racing.